Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your Rangers Review press conference reaction video after the international break. We're counting down the days and hours now until Rangers are back in action this coming Sunday, away to Dundee United. We've heard from both Philippe, Clement and deadline day signing Nadim Bajrami, who has been speaking for the first time as a Rangers player, and some interesting stuff from both to go through the big talking points. Chris joins me. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad, Derek. Another interesting day in the world of Rangers. I think the first press conference after that Old Firm defeat, there was always likely to be a range of talking points, and the manager certainly covers plenty of bases, both transfer matters, injury matters. Also, James Tavernier was a big talking point, and come Sunday afternoon, of course, it's all back on the football. And
we just lost you for a second there, but we've got you back, Chris, so all good. And I've just changed my microphone. I was coming through the laptop, but we're on the proper mic, so let's get rocking and rolling. Right, the big talking points from what the manager had to say. He was quizzed on the injury situation on Nadim Bajrami. He was also quizzed on James Tavernier and the criticism that the skipper has been taken over the international break and after that Celtic game, as well as transfer speculation. Now, on the squad, he said Oscar, speaking about Oscar Cortez, is in a really positive way. So he played 60 minutes against Motherwell, and you can see him week by week growing to the level he was before, and that we know what is a good level. So that's very positive. Same with Hamza Igaman, who's shown a lot of good things in training, so they're progressing well. For the injured players, Ridvan is still out, but he's starting to do individual work outside. Danilo and Rabbi Matondo, they're still out. And just on Danilo, he expanded on him later on in the press conference. He says Danny was a really unlucky one. He did in a sprint. He slipped in a really bad way. So we first thought it would be a cruciate ligament, to be honest. The feeling we had at that moment and the way he fell down, it was a typical injury or a typical slip to carry a cruciate ligament. Luckily, it's not the case. It's his medial ligament. And the doctor said also that he was really lucky because of all the exercises he did before, that the knee is now so strong that it compensated a lot. But he will be out for at least 4 weeks. I will then respond to the second message, why he's not in the European list, because we know already that he's out for his first game in Europe, but also with the history of before, I want to bring him back in a good way. So that's first with league games at that level. You cannot put him now directly after his injury in European games. He's not ready for that. He was ready for some minutes like he did, and he was growing in that way. He was happy then to take his goal against Ross County, and he was in a positive way, but he's not ready to play at European level at the moment. The plan with him is first half of the season to bring him back into the league games, in the cup games, and then we can see after January he'll be at his normal level again, but he needs his time to grow in that way. So that is what he had to say on the injury situation, Chris. Just on Nadim Bajrami as well, he said he was quizzed as he trained with the team. He trained for the first time today, signed the day after he was at the game, and then he was with the national team. It was for him his first minutes with the squad, and asked whether he is in contention for Sunday. It doesn't help, of course, if you don't know the names of your teammates when you need to start the game. He's just in the building, but we will see. It depends on the circumstances also, so I will make the decision after the training tomorrow. What do you make of that, Chris?
I think if we take Danilo as perhaps the biggest injury news there, I think we spoke about this last week. I think it's a real shame for him. I'm really disappointed for him that he's had to go through this again. Hearing the manager explain the situation, it sounds potentially like he's got away with one. It could have been a whole lot worse than it actually has turned out to be. I just hope that he's back playing it and back doing what he loves doing best soon, because he's been through so much. Again, I think, as we said the other day, it's not a case of he's got another injury, let's just go and write him off and say that he's done, and the Rangers should sell him, rip up his contract, and some of the other things that we've seen over the last week or so. I think we just have to be patient with him, but that patience, it will be tested the longer this goes on, because ultimately Rangers need strikers, they need good players, and they need goals to help them win games and help them win silverware. it's probably come at a bad time for the player. Certainly come at a bad time for the manager. But it's just the circumstances. It's what Rangers have. It's what Rangers have encountered. They just have to try and deal with it. On Bajrami, keen to see him start on Sunday. He may not know everyone's name yet, but I think if you are an Albanian internationalist, if the club have spent £3.5 million on you, clearly keen to get you in an area of the pitch where Rangers definitely need an upgrade and they're looking for a spark and a bit of quality. For me, he has to start. Even if he can only get through an hour, give him an hour. Let's see what he can do. Try and allow him to go and influence the game in a positive way, rather than the game potentially not going in Rangers' manner and you're then throwing him on saying go and try and win us the game on your debut. We saw that with Czerny in the European game. Didn't work. Ultimately, Clement needs to win this game. He needs a result. He needs a performance. He needs to give the fans something to buy into again. For me, Bajrami is the man that has to start just to give people something to latch onto almost.
Just on the name situation, the players have got names on their backs, so it shouldn't be too difficult for them to read the backs of his teammates' shirts and say their names. But he spoke well. Bajrami, we'll get onto him shortly. But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. Start him. He's just played 2 internationals with Albania. He's fit. He's raring to go. He said himself he's ready to start. So I would like him to start the game on Sunday. Interestingly, the manager was quizzed on the reaction from the Rangers section of the Rangers fan base outside Ibrox after the game against Celtic. He was asked, were you taken aback by the level of anger and abuse directed at both you and the players? He said, I know there is a lot of frustration and I think the stadium bit created there was a lot of negativity about that. I'm really happy with the news that we can go back to Ibrox and everyone can feel home again. It was a really big thing and it is a normal thing. It was like being put out of your house when you cannot do anything about it. That was the feeling the fans had. It was a difficult one. Now, the most important thing is to go back to Ibrox and focus on the results and the way of playing and making the story better and better with the team. Now, James Tavernier was subject to some of that reaction, of course, and he was asked how he's been since the Old Firm game. He says, very mature. We talked about what happened. It's not a nice thing. If you're a captain, you're a symbol of a team, and people see you that way. I had the same experiences before in Bruges, and I was there 10 years like Tav. In the moments when it's really good, it's really nice to be captain, and in moments when the team doesn't perform, then it's not. But it's not only about you, it's about the team, and you don't reach the expectations of the fans at that moment. You're the first one they talk to or what that they yell to at that moment. So I had these moments also in my career. It's part of being captain. It's part of all I have to say. He has to take it. He takes it really mature, and he's very motivated to get really good results the next couple of months and to get the love back of everybody in the club. The love is from a lot of people still there, and some people were very, very disappointed after the Celtic game. What we can understand because we were there also. I've just realised I lined up Clement saying exactly that, but I went and forgot to play it. So I'm off the ball slightly, having an absolute nightmare there. But that is what the manager had to say about that, Chris. Certainly backing his captain.
If you want to see that clip and much more video, of course, go into the YouTube channel. The entire press art is obviously there, expertly filmed by Josh, not read out expertly by Derek, unfortunately. No, I don't think those comments from the manager will come as any surprise to anyone. I know we've spoken about this week. Tav has been a big part of the conversation over the last couple of weeks. For me, he shouldn't start the game on Sunday. I think if he does, the allegation of he's only playing because he's got the armband, I think that then carries a bit of weight. If you look at Tav on form, regardless of whether he's captain or not, is he deserving of a spot on Sunday? For me, that's a no. Should he have been sold earlier on in the window, potentially this late on, and all the turkey rumours over the last couple of days? I didn't think that made any sense for Rangers or for Tav, so no surprise that that's not happened. The manager was always going to come out and be really standing behind his captain. He had to come out and be as forthright and be as honest and be as strong as that. Having had that backing from the manager, it's now up to James Tavernier to go and deliver on it, to go and prove that faith is not misplaced, to say he owes the manager and owes the team, owes the fans, owes himself a higher level of performance. I think he would accept himself. So I do expect him to start on Sunday. I'd be surprised if he doesn't start on Sunday. That will, again, it'll be a talking point in the hour between the teams coming out and the game starting. It'll be a talking point right throughout the game and afterwards. Ultimately, that's the manager's call. He is paid to make these big decisions, and I don't think it's any surprise that he's been as staunch, if you like, in his backing of the captain.
John from the Isle of Man says, what about Clement saying there's been no bids for Tav? Yeah, he says, I don't know what is real about all these rumours. So there were no offers in the club in that way. So he's been, for sure, a player in Scotland for me in all my career who made so many transfers already without anything happening. That's for sure. In 8 months, I've never seen a player making so many transfers because I read so many stories that he's going to go there, there and there. And he's still here and never came to my office saying, I want to go. There was never an offer in that way towards the club, so let's not talk too much about rumours. Of course, this is following speculation that there were clubs in Turkey keen on signing James Tavernier. It's not materialised, and he is still a Rangers player. The manager not going into it in great detail, but says there was no offers as such for the captain. So, like you, Chris, I'm expecting him to start on Sunday. I don't think he should start. I'd have had Dujon Sterling in there. I don't think any player is bigger than the club, and Tavernier's form is not deserving of a starting spot, in my opinion. So, the manager did say, he said to you in that summer training camp that he wouldn't play every game like he has done in previous years. When's he going to get a rest? Dundee, maybe?
At some point, he will need the rest, because I think we can all accept that he has been overplayed over the course of his Rangers career, and that's, for me, that's partly why he's not at the same level just now. We have seen this. It looks like a physical drop-off over the course of the summer. He doesn't look the James Tavernier that we have seen in previous seasons. Whether he's still carrying something from the injury that he had during pre-season, whether having missed those weeks of pre-season, it just took him slightly longer to catch up. Only the manager and Tav and the medical staff will know. But you can't say he's played too much and he will get a rest and then play him as regularly as he has been played in previous seasons. There has to come a game where he does get that rest. And there also has to come a time where we need to know if Dujon Sterling is the answer at right back or not. This theory of he was signed as one, it'll be fine. Tav can be sold, Tav can be dropped, Tav can be this, that, and the next thing. We don't know how good Dujon Sterling is at right back over the course of 7-8 games, over a longer spell, over the kind of run that Tav has put together over his Rangers career. So at some point, we need to see both of those things happen. I think this is now a decent chance for it. You give Tav a rest for Dundee United. You probably bring him back in for the Malmo game. You could easily play Sterling against Dundee at Ibrox. Hibs at Ibrox, they might bring Tav back in. That's not to say it's a one in, one out, and you alternate them like that. But there has to be a point of give Tav the rest that he's more than due in terms of his Rangers career. But we need to know what Dujon Sterling is like. If it's not going to be him, is it going to be Casemiro that then comes in and plays on that side? Because if you get to the end of the season and Tav has played 50, 60 games again, something has gone wrong somewhere.
Yes, the manager was also asked about board support and whether he's had support, the backing this week. He says, we talked about everything, about the stadium, about the Celtic game, about where we are as a team now. It's the same support as the weeks before. The board knows it's the beginning of a totally new story. They understand that, and there are so many new players, and so many players have left, and so many young players coming in who we need to grow in their potential. He was asked as well, how is the start to the season, what has it done to your own personal motivation levels? Has it made you more determined? His response was, it's difficult because more determined. I think it's difficult. No, I was very determined when I stepped in, and there's no difference in that way. I know the challenge is even much bigger than it was last season. That I know, but I chose that also. I had the choice to make in the summer to do that or not. I love it here. I love the challenge. It's a massive challenge, but with all my body, my mind, with everything, I want to go for that. So that is what the manager had to say on the board and the support to him. Finally, he was quizzed on Yanis Hadji, given that he's played for Romania for their Nations League matches recently. He says, what's the situation? He said, I said the things already the last times that the situation didn't change. It's not only my decision in that way, so we'll see what the future will bring here. He was then asked, can you see that being a decision that would change? Is the door open? No, I just said the situation didn't change for the moment, so there's no reason to go further into that. So that is what he had to say on Hadji. So not likely to see him anytime soon, that's for sure. Interestingly, we did hear from Nadim Bajrami, and it's pronounced Bajrami. We got that pronunciation from our Albanian football expert that we had on to discuss Nadim Bajrami. That is how he pronounced his name, not Bajrami. So there you go. And he was spoke very well. He was quizzed how have the first days been for you. I signed the last day of the transfer window. It was a really stressful day, but I was really happy to join Rangers. Such a great club with history. Immediately when I went to the national team, so I didn't meet everyone this day. Today was my first training session. I was really happy to join the team and to meet the coach, sporting director, and everyone. Quizzed on whether he will look to feature on Sunday. Yeah, I am ready, but it's up to the coach. I feel good. I just played 2 games now with the national team. I am ready. And he was asked to describe himself as a player. I'm a player who likes to play forward, a player who likes to do assists for the team and to score also. I can play also on the left wing, but my favourite position is number 10 and behind the strikers. It's up to the coach. I will do my best. We're both expecting him to start on Sunday, Chris. He said that he can play at left wing. I think we'd both like to see him in the number 10 role, wouldn't we?
I think that's the role that he's been identified. That's the role that he's been signed to operate in. Now, how many times over the course of the window did we discuss that number 10 position and the need for Rangers to bring in a proper operator, a proper upgrade in that area of the pitch? Bajrami is the man that they've gone for. Had to wait until the final minutes of the window to get it done, but they've spent the money, they've got him in. That number 10 jersey should be his going forward. Now there is the issue of No Matondo, Cortez being slightly short of sharpness after his injury on that left hand side. Without giving too much in terms of my team away, I would move Shefty into that position. I think he plays wide left. That obviously leaves Robbie Fraser to come in at left back. Let's see Bajrami at number 10, rather than being cautious with him, rather than shunting him out of position just to fill a hole. I would move Shefty up one. I think he's more than capable of going in there, and I'm really interested to see what Bajrami can bring to this side, because Rangers need him as a signing. It has to pay off, because if that number 10 area doesn't operate, the chances of this side, which I think we both agree still looks short, and it's probably not going to be good enough. If that number 10 role doesn't operate properly, the Rangers have got no chance of even challenging, never mind winning the title this season. So no pressure on him, but he did say that he enjoyed that pressure, that he enjoyed that expectation, and that was his kind of environment. So I think there's a lot of eyes going to be on him over the next few weeks to see what Rangers have, to see where they've invested their money.
Yep, both our teams have pretty similar, actually. I was surprised at how many players that you went for that I went for as well. So I'm sure we'll both get pelters tomorrow when it's released on the site and on the social media channels. First thing tomorrow, folks, you can see who me and Chris would go for if we were in Philippe Clement's shoes. So yeah, just a heads up as well, the 2 press conferences, as Chris mentioned, you can go and watch them both over on the YouTube channel. They're both the first parts, of course, the press conferences this season split up into 2 parts. The second part will be embargoed, and those press conferences will be released at 7 p.m. this evening. So keep your eyes peeled on those on the YouTube channel, and the second part of those conversations will be released a little later on. Right, I think that will do us there. You can also read both if you prefer to read your Rangers review content, folks, over on the website just now. So yeah, plenty to keep you going on this Friday afternoon heading into the evening. Before you go, Chris, I think you're heading up to Tannadice, aren't you, on Sunday? How do you see it going?
Well, that's the most difficult question you've asked me for quite some time, because who knows now? Who knows what the who knows what Rangers side will turn up? Who knows what level of performance the fans can expect? It certainly has to be a better one. Performance-wise, I think it's important, but nowhere near as important as the 3 points. I've actually got a piece on the site tomorrow morning, looking at some of the big calls that the manager has to make ahead of Sunday in terms of selection and what he needs to get out of the game. 3 points is clearly the most important thing. Rangers have to start building a bit of momentum. You've spoken about Rangers being better come October, November time. There's a lot of football to play in September first and foremost, and that also starts on Sunday. And Rangers really need to see an improvement starting from that first 90 minutes.
Yep, I'm a little bit. I've said it before, apprehensive about the trip up there. I hate 12 o'clock kickoffs for a start. Not a big fan of those. Dundee United have started well. They'll be baying for blood, and I think it's going to be a real rough and tumble game. I just hope Rangers can get over the line, get 3 points, get back down the road, and we can move on. Just a question from John on the press conference situation. Why are they doing that this season, guys? Not entirely sure, to be honest with you. And usually the embargoed section was released later on around 10:30 in the evening, but they have brought it forward as a Rangers decision, John, that they are doing that. So that is the reason why. But yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for that. Instead of the content being released later on, you'll find on social media, it will just be released a few hours earlier. Right. Big thank you to you all for tuning in as ever and for your support to the channel. Big thanks to Chris as always as well. Safe travels up to Tayside. You've been up. When was the last time you were at Tannadice, Chris?
I think it was the January game under Michael Beale. I was talking to somebody about this that day there actually, and it was the night he came out and I was talking about Tom Davies, the Everton midfielder, I think, and I'm sure there was another player that got mentioned. Don't think it was Todd Cantwell, was it? I'm sure that there was 2 players that were linked at that time. Davies was definitely one, but I think that was the last time there. Time will tell who it goes, but hopefully it's a successful trip up and down on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Safe travels on Sunday. Right, folks, that'll do us there. Big thanks as ever, and we'll speak to you a little later on. I think I'll be on next on Monday, but we'll have all the usual pre-match and post-match content coming your way on Sunday. I hope your team wins, and we'll speak to you later. Bye for now.